How did you start getting your first customers? Let's talk about that.
Uh, so my old boss is still considered probably top two of contractors in the town that I mainly work in. Um, Everybody in town knows his name. So so when one person found out that one of his carpenters who had been with him for 15 years was off on his own, my name just flew through town, sort of. And I started getting jobs uh, pretty much right away, and all by word of mouth. Um, I also am lucky that in the AA program, I've gotten friends through that and got a lot of work through that too. But pretty much it all went through word of mouth that I was in Montclair. And the other, even bigger help was my local hardware store and my local lumberyard. Um,
How did that work for you?
I've been going to the same lumberyard that I worked at for a couple of months when I was 19 years old. I've been going there forever. I go there for everything. I only go to the Home Depot if my lumberyard is closed. And I try 99% of the time not to go. Uh, all of the guys at the lumberyard know me. And whenever a homeowner came in for a job, I was the first name that they gave out. Um, I buy the guys at the lumberyard lunch a couple times a year. Um, I
Do you take them out or give them a gift card or what do you do?
No, I go to my local deli that I've been going to since I was a little kid. If you can't tell, I like buying local. I go to my local deli that I've been going to since I was a kid, and I order enough food for 25 people. And even though there's only like 18 that work there, but I want to make sure that all the guys have food and more to take home. And I do that 2 or 3 times a year. It costs me about $100, and it keeps everybody happy. And one of the yard guys I'm close friends with, and when contractors come in and they're swamped and they need somebody to subcontract work to, he gives my name out right away. Um, and I'm not giving kickbacks to these guys, like I'm not throwing them, $50 or $100. I'm genuinely friends with them, and they help me out a lot.
Mhm.
And it also gives them a good name too, because if I go and do the job and the customer who bought from them who used me, they will now say, go to Websco and buy all of your lumber at Websco instead of going to the Home Depot. And they'll also say to use me for your next job. So that's how, same thing with the hardware store. That's how I got a lot of my work in the beginning. So it was through both of them.
Can you get a product cheaper at Home Depot or Lowe's than you can get at that lumberyard?
It's really 50-50. Um, some stuff is definitely cheaper, mainly sheet goods, plywoods, sheetrock. I don't deal with much sheetrock though, but mainly sheet goods are cheaper at the Home Depot. But my lumberyard sells a higher grade lumber. Um, I have an account through them, so if I need to sort of uh, if I don't have all the money in the bank, I don't have to pay it off right away. I don't have to have it on a credit card. And not everything is cheaper so like screws and nails are considerably cheaper at my lumberyard. Crown molding and shoe molding is considerably cheaper at my lumberyard. The decking stuff is cheaper at the Home Depot, but I I would rather take the hit than buy from there. My lumberyard's been in business for 80 years, and I hope it is for another 80 years.
Mhm.
So,
Well, you just described a scenario that's very, very similar to where I live. And I remember as a new business owner going and price comparing, at my local lumberyard, at Lowe's, Home Depot. And sometimes I would struggle because I would think, I could get it a little bit cheaper if I went to Lowe's or whatever. But I found that what you described is exactly the same. The relationship I had with the lumberyard, those those people have had that business, like you said, 80 to 100 years, and they know it inside out. They offer not only a higher grade or better quality, but knowledge. I mean, I would call him up on my cell and ask him questions. What do you recommend in a situation like this? And he might work through it with me. Well, if I would go in Lowe's and say, "Hey, I got a question about this can of paint," the guy would stand there and read the label, and I'd say, "Hey, I've already read the label. I have a question," and he'd say, "I
Yeah.
can't." And you. So anyway, I highly recommend that too. Going to your local lumberyard where you have a relationship with the people.
Yeah. There's two other big things too. And well, three. One is that my truck is safe there. I know my truck's not going to get broken into while I'm there. At the Home Depot, who knows? Number two, I pull in, I grab my material, and I go. I don't have to put it on a cart and then push the cart and then, load it into my truck. I just go there, load it up, go. We're done. And the third thing is that I have enough of a relationship with my lumberyard where I could have called them up. I needed 5 pounds of screws and it's noon. And I need it that day to finish the job. I can literally call up my lumberyard and be like, "Joe, I need 5 pounds of screws desperately so I can finish this job today. Do you have a truck coming down to Montclair?" And if they don't, so be it. I'll go and pick them up myself. If they do, they'll drop off that 5 pounds of screws to me. They will go out of their way to drop off that set of screws. And he'd probably even lie to me and say there isn't a truck going down
Right.
and still send them down to me.
Right.
Now,
Right.
to me, that means the world. I mean, the Home Depot's not going to find your work. The Home Depot's not going to do anything like that for you, or the big box store, I should say, instead of saying the names. But yeah, that's why I go there.
So
Uh,
your business grew primarily just by the reputation you'd kind of already started with, word of
yeah.
mouth, people handing your phone number out to each other. Is there anything else that you've done throughout these years to help with the marketing of your business?
No, and I need to do more. I need to brand more. I need to get my website actually up and running. I do want to grow, um, but it's sort of a scary thing is growing. Um, right now, I have control over everything. So I have given up control of the business side of it more and more. I have a friend who I've hired. He's part time. He does a lot of my day to day billing. Does the initial talks with clients. He talks with my lumberyard to get material prices and all that stuff so that I can work all day and get everything done. Because if I'm doing that all day long, I was getting nothing done. Uh, I was fielding questions all day long. So that has been a huge help to me. But other than that, I need to get on the ball doing some other stuff.